Welcome, I Am FOB family, to another episode of I Am FOB, telling the immigrant story. Today, we're very blessed to have Gaia Calcaterra. She is from South Africa originally, and she's been here quite a while, but of course, we'll let you tell her story. Gaia, we know you're from South Africa. Where did your journey begin? And what was your life like before you moved to the United States?
Hi, Mark. It's lovely to be here. Yes, I was born and raised in Johannesburg in South Africa, and both of my parents are Italian originally. So I grew up there, and then I went back to Italy for 6 years to study, and I studied in Florence. And then I ended up going back to South Africa for 11 years, and after that, I moved to to China for a year and a half first. Then I lived in Australia, and then I made it to the States. So I sort of ended up coming roundabout to the United States.
So you really have traveled the world. You are sort of FOB fresh off the boat in many different countries.
Many different countries, yes. I have 3 different passports and 5 driver's licenses.
Which culture do you gravitate most towards?
It's really difficult to say, but I would say it's a toss-up between Italy and South Africa, where I feel sort of the most connected to.
Okay. How old were you when you came here? And what were your first impressions of America?
So interestingly enough, I first came to the States when I was 20 years old and actually turned 21 here, but it was just on vacation and I absolutely fell in love with it already at the time. And then I ended up coming back here again roughly 15 years ago, so when I was about 33. And I've always enjoyed it. I've always loved it, and I felt very attracted to it from very early on.
Why did you choose America? And how did that vision compare with the reality that you encountered when you actually got here?
You know, I've always loved it from. I'm very entrepreneurial, so that perspective always very much resonated with my personality and who I am, and I've always seen it as a country that allows for a lot of possibility. If you work hard and you apply yourself, you stand a good chance of making it, that isn't always the case in a lot of other countries. There's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of other challenges that sort of stifle the entrepreneurial process, I guess.
What special or unique qualities, perspectives, or values do you feel you contribute to America's culture or community?
That's a good question. I definitely bring an international perspective to the table, and ideas from different cultures. And I feel like in the time that I've been here, there's been a cross-pollination of sorts and an attempting to have one country help the other and vice versa. So, for example, here in 2012, I set up something called the Hope Floats Project, which was to assist children in Broward County going through the grieving process. And that has ended up becoming the annual signature event for an organization here in Broward County called Tomorrow's Rainbow. And then from the other way around, I got together with a group of volunteers here in the States who helped me raise $350,000. This was in 2016. And together we started something called the Gratitude Project, where we were able to build a home and a care center for children of child-headed households in South Africa. And what that is it's a child who has typically lost both parents and has become the main the main person in the household, looking after their younger siblings, and often with no access to food or accommodation or schooling. And so, yeah, with the help of a group of amazing volunteers here in the States, we've been able to put that up, and that's running, and it's helped a lot of children, elderly, sick people, and that's continuing today.
That's fantastic. What do you love most about being in America? And has anything about American culture or America continued to like surprise you or bring wonder to you? You never sort of get tired of seeing it.
You know, I have to say, when I first arrived, and particularly in New York City, you know, they call it sort of the melting pot, and I loved that it was this city or country of you know, immigrants from all over the place, and each one bringing their own flavor and culture and uniqueness, but all sort of living together and coexisting. I love that about it, and it's something I love about South Africa too. You know, they call it the Rainbow Nation, and it's also amazing diversity of people and cultures.
Is there anything that you still miss today about your birthplace? And how do you stay connected to that?
I absolutely miss my family and my friends. I miss South Africa in general. You know, the people, the weather, everything that it has to offer. It's a really, really unique country. I try and stay in contact as often as possible with friends and family. We have 2 Zoom calls a week, so that connection remains very strong and always will be.
If you could help Americans understand one important thing about your culture or where you're from, what would it be?
I would say, you know, there's a concept which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with from South Africa, which is the concept of Ubuntu, which is I am because you are. And you know, it's a country where community is so important. And yeah, you know, I remember going back even to the Gratitude Project when we set up this care center, and even being from South Africa, it was an eye opener to me because we were essentially setting up a home for orphans, right? It was essentially an orphanage, but they explained to us that there's no such thing as an orphan in African culture, because the child is basically a part of the community, and therefore it's the community's responsibility to raise it, and everyone's family. So the concept of orphan doesn't actually exist. And so as a consequence, we ended up renaming it a care center instead of an orphanage. And it's still you know, all different members of the community participate and contribute to helping raise a lot of these kids.
If you could go back to the day you arrived and meet yourself at the airport, what advice, encouragement, or wisdom would you share?
So, I mean, I've moved to now 5 different countries pretty much on my own. And the one thing that is absolutely invaluable in every single case is community. And it's, you know, it's everything. It's everything. They become your friends become your family overseas. And so my advice would be to really dedicate myself or yourself to setting up community around you as quickly as possible, and engaging in as many activities as possible, and getting to know as many people. I found volunteering so helpful from this perspective. And yeah, I mean, even here at the moment, my friends are my family here. They are absolutely everything. They are an incredible group of people that they're just delightful to be with. And so they make the place, they absolutely make it feel like home. So that's what I would suggest and advise to myself and to other people.
Gaia, what do you do?
So I'm entrepreneurial. From a study perspective, I have a bachelor's in fine arts, And then I have a master's in business administration, and now I've recently signed up to a 3-year program to study psychedelics, psychedelic healing, and the mystical experience. So it's a bit all over the place, but there's actually like a very common thread between them. And I've done a number of different things here in the United States, but predominantly I've been involved in a lot of real estate. I own rental properties. I've been involved in loans. And then I have a website which I do similar things to you and interview people. And it's called Life of Gaia, in reference to the name of the earth. And it's all about empowering people's existence through sort of the telling of other people's stories and of telling their experiences. And that was very much inspired from the Joseph Campbell quote that says, "The cave you fear to enter holds the jewels that you seek." And so I've just met the most amazing people who have had the most incredible stories to tell, and it's been an absolute gift and an honor. So yeah, that's what I do.
If you were to give someone advice or to bust a myth about psychedelics and plant healing and so on, what would you say?
The first thing I would say is I would say do your research, because a lot of people are very fearful around the topic and consider it a taboo topic because of what's been in the media up till now. But the research and the history around it is absolutely incredible. They are powerful substances. They are powerful healers. They are powerful connections to consciousness. And I've dedicated the last 10 years of my life to the study and understanding of them through my own personal experiences too, and through learning. And they've been life-changing experiences, and I've had the honor of being present for the transformation and the journeys of self-discoveries of others. It's been a gift, truly.
For someone who is interested in getting involved or learning or having a plant medicine treatment in terms of psychedelics and opening up consciousness, what do you recommend?
There's so many different offerings. There are a lot of places that one can go abroad to do this. There's a variety of different plant medicine options. They've been in existence all over the world for centuries now. And so it's really a very nuanced, multifaceted discussion, because each plant medicine has, I guess you could call it a personality and a way of working with it that then results in particular results, I guess. And so one can try psilocybin. There's ayahuasca. There's even not the traditional plant medicines, but there's the LSD pathway, the MDMA pathway. There's ibogaine, which has been incredible for addictions. It's a very vast, very interesting topic.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Gaia, thank you very much for sharing a little bit of your story. And we look forward to having you join us again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this journey where we've met with Gaia Calcaterra. And we look forward to you joining us again for another interview where we meet another immigrant with impact at I Am FOB.
Thank you, Mark. It's been a pleasure.